Welcome, Red Path. My name is Jenessee, and if you are here, you have been walking the Red Path this entire month. If for whatever reason you've clicked on this video and you don't know what the Red Path means, I highly suggest going back to the beginning of the month and finding the Pick Your Path selection, and then you can come back to this new moon energy and either choose the red or the blue path. So this month, and what we're going to be reviewing right now, it's all been about heaven on earth. It's getting you, this human living this crazy cycle, this crazy journey. It's getting you ready to walk into a really big flow, a burst of energy come the very end of this month and starting in a new cycle come August. And so everything from this month has really been this heaven on earth. How do you get your purpose? How do you get all of those feelings, everything you've been fighting for, everything that you've been dreaming of? How do you get all of that from this non-physical reality, from your dream state? How do you get that here on earth? And that's what this month of July has been about. It's been about fine-tuning, realigning, adjusting you energetically so that you can be ready to walk with this new energy. And it is going to be an influx of energy that comes towards the very end of the month and picks right up into the manifestation flow of August. So are you ready? That's what we're going to look at. So Red Path, you picked this path. Again, we're going to go back all the way back to the beginning real quick here. You picked this path because of grief energy. Remember, my cards are out here when I track this way. So you, in June, what made you choose this path was the grief energy, the big letting go, whatever it was that was transitioning in your reality from June that got you to anchor into this energy of July, the Red Path. And so having that transition, that letting go, that grief energy show up in June basically was what choices you were making, what experiences you were having. And now here in July, it laid out for you a path that you've been walking this entire July. And so the mastery of July came in, and that mastery means what you've been learning, right? Another level of you that's being exposed right now. And this is the vulnerability. So the entire month of July, the goal for you is to find new and more ways to expose yourself, to be vulnerable so that more of that purpose, that divine alignment can come through. And so at the beginning of the month, at the full moon, there were things that were illuminated in your path that needed to be either integrated, adjusted, so that you could then find that level of vulnerability. And the new moon energy was all about being adaptable. And at that, at the full moon energy, at that full moon, we did the astrological reading, which really pinpointed where in your path the adaptability was coming in, where you needed to shift, where your partnerships were opening up, where there was more of this connected energy that could come in to support you during this entire month, again, to find your vulnerability. And now here towards the end of the month, the new moon energy, what happens is we start to come face to face with the last hurdles, the last what we would call tests, the last kind of review to make sure we're ready to completely receive this next charge of energy, which again starts right at the end of this month and moves us into August, which is all about then the manifestation of what we were working on this month. And again, everything from the beginning of the year up into this month, but really this month has been the last fine-tuning calculations. So vulnerability must have been a real big emphasis, a real big theme for you since the beginning January of this year, because really what this what this July is all about is helping you to finish a lot of this last remaining work to allow you to be this really clear conduit for more of your purpose, more of that what you've been seeking to be here and show up for you in the physical. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through the chakras because the last leg of this, the big last hurdle or test you're going to come up against is the potential of denial energy. And this is something you've gone to in the past. This is a pattern of yours where basically when you see big, when you dream big, when you tap into the potential, right, that big potential, which really does make you feel vulnerable and gets you into a new energy that you can't control, you don't have you have so much perspective, but again, you don't know how it's going to turn out because this is new energy. That when you start to transition into this and make yourself vulnerable to aligning to this, it actually starts this past pattern of yours that kicks in that says, wait a minute, maybe I am not seeing things clearly. Maybe I didn't get that message right. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this, because what you're tapping into is your divinity, your purpose here, right? To bring in this heaven on earth energy. And so the big cycle pattern for you that pulls you out of obtaining that potential, your heaven on earth, is this pattern of the third eye chakra that says, maybe we should be in denial. Maybe we should just put the veil down again. Maybe we should just stay in our lane. Maybe we shouldn't look too far into the future. Maybe we shouldn't dream too big, because what happens if it all fails, right? And so this denial energy comes in and basically takes your dream, takes your potential from here to back to the limitations of what's known, what's expected, what you feel comfortable recreating day in and day out without having the failure potential. And so this denial energy is what is coming in for you right now. And that's where we're going to look. So, I like to really fine tune this and get you very, very honed in on where this could be hitting you and transitioning for you. Again, the chakras are energy fields that really connect into past, into future. They create our reality. And so they're like little magnets, little vortexes or magnets within us that will attract to us the real world encounters that we need to make sure we're ready to move into a new cycle, a new level. Yet what will happen is if we allow this denial energy to come in and stifle us, we will end up blocking some of this new potential. And so that's where I want to see what you're dealing with right now. And that's why it's really important to pick one of these so that you can focus in as I say them. If there are multiple that you've been dealing with very predominantly, then definitely listen to all of them, or those ones that apply. But I doubt anyone out there listening to this is dealing with all 7 of these. So don't try and assess per listening to it. Assess right here based off of what I tell you each chakra is connected to, and then we can play with how that's affecting you. So we're going to start with root chakra and then move our way to crown chakra. Right now I'm going to give you the lowdown of what each of these chakras is connected to in your physical reality, where you might be having some starting to see some of this dysfunction come up, starting to have some of the finding yourself coming up against some of those, rock in a hard place situations, or things that make you feel like you're repeating old patterns or not doing things right. That's what you're listening in for right now. So if it's root chakra, it would be with your family. It would be with foundation, those things that support you, those things that make you feel safe and secure, right? And so if your security, if your family, if anything around these ranges right now is a bit out of alignment, if that's where a lot of your source of density is coming in, if that's where you feel like a lot of the problems are right now, is your sense of security, stability, your family, then you're going to focus on root chakra in a moment when we dive into where the denial's coming up. So next would be sacral chakra. And sacral chakra, anybody who's dealing with one-on-one relationship issues. So this could be you and your kids, this could be you and your partner, this could be you and a friend, you and another person. If there's been contentious energy or manipulation or guilt tripping or anything kind of emotional that's come up between you and another person, then you're most likely going to find where this potential duality at the end of the month is going to get triggered for you. So that would be sacral chakra. Then we're going to move to solar plexus chakra. So here in solar plexus chakra, this would be about you. So anything in your internal processing, how you feel about yourself right now. If you've been, shaming yourself for not doing things right, a lot of the I statements, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not, anything like this. If you find yourself in an I spiral, then you're probably here in solar plexus chakra. And that's where you'll find your end of the month duality pop up. So then we've got heart chakra. Heart chakra is people who are looking for expansion. So this could be bigger groups, community things. This could be, being really focused on a lot of the real world rioting, coming together of groups. This is people collectively coming together. This is expansion and a lot of kind of feeling, where this is feeling because of people, this is more feeling because of the world. So more world type things happening here. So if you're finding yourself blocked, out of alignment, if you're feeling yourself confused about any of those topics, then you would be here at heart chakra level. Next is throat chakra. So if you feel like your voice is not being heard, if people aren't listening to you, if you feel like you're not able to get out your messages, if you've been questioning how your voice has been responding to people, like tactless energy, spewing words that then you wish you could take back. If you've been, hearing gossip, a part of gossip, anything like this, or even not able to get out the truth or the words that you need to, feeling like you don't have the right words or you say the wrong words, anything focusing on how your energy basically is projected outside so other people can understand it would be here in throat chakra level. Next, we're going to go to third eye chakra. Third eye chakra is going to be all about the mind. So if you find you're in negative patterns, dense patterns here in the mind, if your mind is the thing that's overactive or not supporting you enough, or you can't control your mind right now, anything that has to do with your mental center and what you're thinking, how you're thinking, if you don't feel like you have the wisdom or the perspective to do what you need to do, if you don't see the bigger picture, if you still feel unclear, if you need clarity, right? That's maybe where you're focusing this month. And then lastly, we're going to go to crown chakra. Crown chakra is going to be the people who are right now dealing with, it could be disconnect. It could feel like you're alone in this world. It feels like there's no guidance, no purpose. It could also be those people who are really aligned to their purpose and really connected there, seeking kind of more of that divine guidance, right? This would all kind of fall around the crown chakra energy, and still wanting to know that. So that's how I would suggest you pick what you listen to. And again, I'll have the time cards here so you can just scroll forward to whatever chakra is right now most predominantly affecting you in your life. Again, we're looking for the physical indications right now of what's coming up so that here at the end of the month, we can dive deeper into where some of this denial energy, where you might get stuck, where you might get trapped in your old patterns. And so we're going to use basically what's happening, what's conspiring within your physical reality right now. We're going to align that to the non-physical energy of denial and see what's coming through for you. So go ahead and scroll through, find the one or ones that few that you're going to listen to, and then we will meet again in August, and hopefully the mastery of the month, the vulnerability has been completely experienced so that you can really have that heaven on earth experience come August. So we're going to start with the root chakra. So root chakra is attachment. So we're going to just go real deep here. So those of you here at the end of the month that are dealing with some family, some stability, any kind of concern over what's making you feel stable, what's making you feel safe, or like you have some kind of stability right now in your life, or even the family situation, right? Which an unstable family can make you feel unstable in life. And so right here, what they're saying is a part of your denial energy is this attachment. And what attachment really means is that you are so focused on how things should be. You are so focused, you are so, what we say, attached to the outcome that you are not able to allow yourself to be vulnerable in the moments that you need to be vulnerable, to have this shift, to have this next level experience. And so what it almost is implying is that there's a control control here that you're unwilling to let go of. And the control is really coming in to highlight for you. Again, the denial energy here is not being able to see the big picture. So it's because you are so focused on how you want it to be, what it should look like per your parameters, that you're siphoning the potential of this. And this is most likely in connection, again, to your stability, to the family, and you being this person who has the greater perspective, who can see it bigger, better, than anybody else. And if it's not aligning to that, you almost then get in that denial energy where it's like you tell yourself, this can't be right, this can't be what's happening, and you then repeat the loop or the cycle that's gotten you here in the first place. And so for you, this end of the month, focusing on a lot of this family energy or the stability, safety, foundational energy that's coming up for you to move forward. Again, it's all about the vulnerability. It's tapping and finding the vulnerability, and then the the full moon energy that happened at the beginning of the month that was a new kind of energetic infusion for you was the ability to be adaptable. And so remember, this month has been so perfectly aligned to get you out of your own way. It's like the more you could adapt to other people's wants, other people's needs, find that happy flow for everybody, not just your vision of what everybody should be doing, what this should look like, how the project should unfold. The more you can get out of your control over this, the easier it's going to be for not only you to access those levels of vulnerability that's needed, which the vulnerability for you is just letting go of your attachment to how it should be, should look, should produce, should evolve, all of these shoulds. You got to let go of all the shoulds, find that flow, find the ability to adapt to other people in the moment and what their thoughts are, what their feelings are, because this is naturally what's going to pull you out of the attachment, allow you to be more adaptable to everybody's needs, which will create so much more of this big picture energy. So that's really where I would tell you this from here on forward, to just try and let go more and more and more and more, so that you can access the vulnerability that is your mastery of this month. Because when you do that, then you really start to soften and receive more of what this new energy is. Or actually, it's what you were trying to create, but had such a limited view on what you were creating. And now it's going to be so much better than you could have ever hoped for. But you really had to let go and trust that not only you, but everybody else could cultivate the energy necessary to move this forward in the right way. And the right way means the way you had wanted it to move forward and were trying to control it to move forward. But in essence, it had to have your vice grip off of it to really allow this to expand. So that's root chakra level. And next we're going to get to sacral chakra. So those dealing with the relationships right now, so you're manifesting the ability to use your voice in a way that's aligned to your purpose. And so the denial energy for you really does come in where you tell yourself that you're either seeing this wrong, that you've interpreted it wrong, that your intuition is wrong here, that what you're thinking is wrong, and therefore then you don't speak up. You don't use your voice in a way that's really connected to the truth of the situation. And again, it doesn't have to be everybody's truth, but this is your truth. And so what this is saying is, here towards the end of the month, what's really going to get you out of the cycle that would have you repeating this lesson later in life, what gets you to move forward in a new way where you're receptive really to, again, whatever this next big phase is going to be for you. What you have to do right now is trust that if you're feeling it, if you're thinking it, if it's that big in your field, it needs to be communicated. It has to come through your voice. And it takes a lot for you. It takes a lot of focus, a lot of concentration to really feel like you're putting the right words out there. And that's okay. That's a beautiful aspect of you here. But specifically, because you picked relationships, specifically, what your relationships are needing from you is to know what your purpose is, to know what your truth is. Because it's if you don't speak that, that, if you don't communicate clearly, you are basically, it's not only in denial per this connection, it's really in denial of where you're going, or having trust in yourself, having faith in yourself. And so whatever this block is for you, where you resist communicating this to the partner, to the friend, to the child, to the relationship, whoever it is, because you're pulling back and not communicating, it really does signal to your own path, your own purpose here, that what you have to say, what you're feeling, what you're processing isn't good enough to be reflected in this world. And so this relationship, I'd say, why you picked this here, sacral chakra, is because probably the relationship came in to really be your trigger here at the end of the month. The relationship, and why you're questioning this, would be, this is how this is coming through for you. This person, raised their hand and said, I'll play the role. I'll play the role of the trigger this month to make sure that this person has the experience they need and moves past their block, right? And the block, again, is this potential of denying, the denial, or even the denial that it's even true, the denial that what I'm thinking is real, what I'm feeling is real. Your mind can spin you in loops and loops and loops and have you questioning yourself, or questioning how you're acting or wanting to move forward. And so again, to use your voice and communicate very clearly to whoever the person was that raised their hand to step up to be your trigger this month, that relationship, to communicate to them exactly what you're thinking, exactly what you're feeling, and exactly why this is your purpose in this moment, and to communicate that. And that will make sure that you're not getting stuck here at the end of the month, that you're still vulnerable, which is the mastery for you. Again, this really should make you feel vulnerable. It should make you feel a bit out of body, a bit exposed. And that's a good thing. That's exactly what this energy needs from you to get past this loop, this cycle, this pattern you have, where what you have to feel, what you have to say, what you're thinking isn't worth communicating to the person who is literally stepping into your path to say, I'm going to be that person that pushes you until you live it, until you speak your truth. And so they've come in to be that person for you. So make sure you let them fulfill your contract to you as well. So speak your truth. Make sure that you're speaking your purpose, speaking your truth. And this will stop that cycle where kind of you tend to be in denial about what's really happening. And this will help you get through the new moon energy at the end of this month, and help you really start to create more of a reality outside of you that's reflecting then exactly how you're feeling and what you're processing. And so that becomes your new heaven on earth when you show up and are able to kind of go toe to toe with this person who is triggering you here at the end of the month. So the next one we're going to get into is solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus chakra is all about the person who's kind of really focused on their own journey right now, about what's happening to them, really focused on yourself and maybe self-growth, or even the limitations of the self right now. And so here at the end of the month, with the denial energy and the pullback, or not being able to see big picture, this for you is all about your voice and connection to your relationships. And I go right back to the energy of adaptability. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so adaptability is about you. So the full moon energy at the beginning of this month really came in to infuse you with new energy. That it's all about your your passion to lead bigger groups, communities, these larger, it's almost like taking your passion and serving a bigger audience, right? And so here at the end of the month, your energy, or the potential stifle of your energy, is all about inspiring, and using your passion to now inspire. And so, I don't know where you're second guessing. I don't know where your question, well, I do know it's it's all about you. But there's this pattern of denial where, again, I think it's just for you as simple as saying you don't feel like you're good enough, or maybe your message isn't good enough, or what happens if you know, somebody does it better or calls you out. It's very focused on, you know, you have found what makes you passionate. You found this really creative flow and feel really confident in what you're creating and what you have to share with people. The goal for you, the mastery for you this month is about accessing the levels of vulnerability. And so your end of the month pattern here that's coming up, that they're asking you, please don't fall into this trap, please don't fall into this trap. It's you denying that who you are is good enough, what you have is good enough, your message is strong enough, that you're here to inspire people, that you're here and your passion is here to connect to the larger groups and really motivate the larger groups. And so all of this is really saying the potential pitfall that you get into is distrusting in yourself and what you have to offer. And so here at the end of the month, again, you're manifesting this ability to really inspire people through your voice. And so maybe you've been asked to speak about something, or maybe you naturally just wanted to speak about your passions and what's getting you really excited. And yet there's this second guessing, or there's this inability to really access the level of vulnerability needed to get you in front of the right people, or to do this live, or to speak this in the moment, right? It's like there's something about this where you're resisting the level of vulnerability that's needed from you to really be moving past the old block. And so again, here at the end of the month with the new moon energy, what is shifting for you is this denial. It's you denying that who you are is good enough, that what you have is good enough. And again, it's very specific to your feeling, your passion, what you're creating. You know, I almost feel like this is a very human energy, so it's already here. Whatever you're doing, it's already here in this physical reality. And so the interesting thing for you is, if you don't get stuck in the trap of denial, denying who you are is good enough, what you have to share is good enough, all these things you're creating is good enough. If you don't get stuck in that block here, and if you actually access the levels of vulnerability to trust that what you've created, what you have is good enough, strong enough to be heard, and again, there's an expansion quality to what you're doing, then in that, you know, if you can get past this last new moon hurdle of denial, denying yourself, then you already have some of this stuff happening in your physical reality that I am so very excited to see where you go in August, because you've already got tangible assets here. In July, it seems like you've already created some of this stuff. And so August for you is, I feel like, massively just putting energy into all of those things and letting it take off in a bigger way. So next we're going to do heart chakra. So heart chakra, okay, heart chakra is heart chakra. Heart chakra comes in and there's a hypo heart chakra here. So if you picked heart chakra, you picked it either because of the expansive, because of group energy, because of wanting to connect to bigger groups, or being a part of bigger groups, or really just expanding, or maybe even the feelings that you've been going through. So if you picked heart chakra energy, the potential of denial for you is it's denying the emotional swings. Okay, and so I really feel like somebody who picked this level has been playing with consciousness for a while. You've been on your journey, you've been doing the work for a while, and so what the message is for you here is sometimes when we think we've done our work, sometimes we think that when we've attained a certain level of consciousness, or when we've attained a certain level of spirituality, that we don't ever have to deal with those ugly, you know, phases that we went through again. And we feel like, you know, who we are is more of an enlightened being. Who we are is so connected that they don't have to deal with some of those uglier moments. And what this is coming in to remind you here is that that it does not matter if you are, the reincarnation of Buddha here. It does not matter who you are, that you are still human first and foremost, which means you have the beauty and the amazing experience of living a physical, emotional, and mental life. And so what that means is when you're firing on all cylinders here, you get to have the high highs and the low lows, no matter how conscious or spiritual you are. The person who picked heart chakra, maybe you're in an emotional swing, and maybe right now you're denying allowing yourself to get to that level of true sadness, true emotionality, true anger, true grief, true sorrow, true depression, whatever it is, whatever this dense emotion is that's coming up, maybe you're resisting it because, again, it makes you feel very vulnerable. It makes you question yourself and who you are and what you thought you had achieved. And so, this one is a really deep self-reflection, where this coming up here, if you picked this energy, it's very much so saying that you're probably denying allowing some of these emotions to come through. And so there's denial in what you're processing, how well you're processing it, because what this is saying is there's deeper levels. You should be in a deeper level of this. You really need to allow yourself to hit those extremes, because as we grow consciously, the more we can expand ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and have extreme moments at our different levels of consciousness, the more that we can feel into, the more we can connect to. And so this is just another beautiful way to get you to access deeper levels of emotionality. And this is very much so it's coming up as a pattern from the past, something that maybe you felt like you dealt with, or maybe you shouldn't be having to deal with at this level anymore. But what this is saying is you need to deal with it. Allow the emotions to come in. Allow yourself to feel to the depth of this as long as you need to. Be vulnerable to it. And this is what will blow you open to allow yourself to expand, which will then bring in the new come August. So that's heart chakra. The next we're going to go to is the throat chakra. So throat chakra is manifesting acceptance. So throat chakra was somebody who was, okay, let me just back up. I've got so many things coming in. Okay, so throat chakra is all about the voice speaking the truth, or feeling like you can't speak your truth, or like your truth has been stifled, or maybe your voice has been saying the wrong things, or maybe not being heard enough. So why ever you picked throat chakra, the energy that you need to understand is that what your throat chakra is being blocked. Why ever you pick this, it is stagnant, it is blocked. Why ever you pick this energy here to hear about, the reason for that is, yet again, you are in denial about you creating the exact situation that you're in. And so there is this level, it's like a double denial here, right? It's almost as if you're turning a blind eye, or maybe that's not the right way to say it. You are choosing to only engage with certain things or accept certain things from your reality, where your entire reality is a perfect representation of everything you've needed to create from your inner world. Your inner world has created your external reality to be the perfect playground for you to be in right now. And so if you do not like that playground, you are, number one, in a level of denial. And here, number two, the denial comes in again on top of this level of denial of the physical. The level of denial is coming in yet again because of whatever these triggers of the voice are. Why ever you're not using your voice, or why ever you're distrusting your voice and what you've been speaking. And so there are multiple levels of denial going on for you. The first level, and how you can shift this at the end of the month, at this full moon here, is to really start to accept that this is my reality and this is my perfect reality. And so if I do not like being in the perfection of what I've created, how can I change it? And for you, because you pick this chakra, it is all through your voice. Get out of the denial, get out of the loops that you're stuck in, because if you do not change this now, you will be stuck in this loop again, because you have multiple layers of this denial energy. You're not only denying the physical, you're denying then what got you to deny the physical. So this is a very deep layered pattern for you. And so again, how do you change this pattern? It's for you, it's using your voice in a way that helps you to change the reality that you see yourself in, so that you can accept what's here. First and foremost, it's accepting what is. And then second would be using your voice to change any aspects of what is into a new reality. And so that's you getting out of denial. That's you dropping the curtain and saying, okay, I'm here. I don't know what it's going to take, and I'm going to get myself vulnerable to get there, but I'm going to start to shift these things in my physical reality that I am not happy with. I am accepting that this is my reality, and now that I accept it, I'm going to change what I don't like about it using my voice. And so that is throat chakra energy here on the red path. The next is going to be third eye chakra. So third eye chakra, so there's fear coming up. And so third eye chakra, again, is the greater perspective. It's the people who have been in their minds, had a lot of things going on in their minds. There's just an overactivity. And so I would say, because third eye chakra is the mind, because the potential duality here for you at the full moon is the third eye chakra also, which is denial of what's happening. And now what they're saying is you're actually you're questioning so much of everything that's here. I feel like you're a really top-loaded person. You're really heavy in the mental field right now. And because you're so heavy here and so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many things, it's creating a lot of confusion energy. Now, what happened and why you're getting the denial energy, why you pick third eye chakra, all of these things, the confusion of maybe how to move forward, what do I move forward with, what's my purpose, what's going to be manifesting, all these confusing things that you've been messing with in your head, right? Holding up here and trying to figure out, but there's so much here that it's made you so confused. What's happening now and what they're signaling is happening now is what happens if we hold confusion for too long and don't make a decision to move forward. It becomes fear, and fear actually stops us from moving forward. And so they're saying because of the denial over what you've been picking up on, what you've been thinking, again, let me help you here and say what you think you attract. And so if you've been thinking about potentials, all of those potentials are already attracting to you. But you have to then start to act on it in certain ways. I mean, thinking is a higher chakra, so you have to get that thinking down into the more physical chakra so it can manifest for you. But when you hold things here and it becomes confusion and then you don't act on it and start to do things to help manifest those thoughts and what you're perceiving and some of these ideas you have, then what happens is this becomes a fear block, which means it's actually now everything up here is also blocked down in your root chakra, which means you actually don't move at all. You're stuck in time, in place, in this one situation. So the confusion turns into fear, and the fear is actually, and I know when we say fear, sometimes people go really extreme, but it can be fear in that you just don't want to try something new because you're scared of putting yourself out there. And remember, the whole mastery for you this month is to put yourself out there so that you can be vulnerable. And so this has been, everything you've been thinking has been asking you to just pick something and do it. Just try it. Get yourself vulnerable. Get out there and do it. And what this is saying here at the end of the month, the potential duality, or where you could really get stuck, is if you let the denial of all of these mental thoughts, if you continue to deny, or veil yourself to these things, things, and then it becomes a block where then it becomes a fear block where you then don't move forward at all. And then what happens is you're really stuck, and it becomes really hard to get out of that fear to move forward. And so again, the way to heal this is to find vulnerability, to make yourself vulnerable and go for it, and put yourself out there, and that will make sure that this end of the month potential does not block you from the mastery of vulnerability and really moving forward into next month, manifesting some of these things. So if you pick third eye chakra, really the message here at the end of the month is to stay vulnerable, and that's how you make sure the denial pattern doesn't get you and the fear pattern then doesn't take place. All right, so the last one is crown chakra. So crown chakra is the person who is on the spiritual path, the person who has maybe spiritual questions, the person who's looking for kind of maybe that bigger guidance come in, or has been really playing, or maybe even feeling blocked spiritually. And so again, the end of the month here is about denial. And now what's coming up for you at the end of the month is this tolerance energy. And the tolerance energy is about high self connecting to how you express yourself. And so for you, again, I feel like you probably have, it's about you living how you want to live, you living in full connection to what you feel your purpose is, what you feel really enlivened to. It's what just inspires you. It's like spirit, right? The spirit of you has been really playing, and I feel like what could stifle you here are the people or the things that you feel are slow in your path. This might be the person who says, I can't meditate because the kids are home. I can't take that time away because the kids are home, or the husband judges this way, or I can't talk about what I really believe because my friends just don't get it and they're not on that level. So if you feel like you're tolerating any part of life, if you feel like you have to change who you are right now, and we're talking spiritually, we're talking about the spirit of you, because again, July is this non-physical month. It's this very spiritual month where you're tapping into who you are, high self, who you are, divine self, what your purpose is, and that is starting to find its way home, and it's going to start manifesting through you. Yet what they're saying is, if you find yourself tolerating or having to put up with people and then change who you are, right? This is about denial, about even, tolerating their snarky comments or their feedback or what their opinions are. It's about anywhere in your life, wherever you're tolerating how people are perceiving you, the judgment of you, or what's happening, then what's really going on is you are questioning. Again, it's a bit of denial. This tolerance energy is coming in to show you where you are able to be where you're able to be made to question yourself and what you're experiencing, and this is creating more of a veil over the greater perspective of what you're heading into. And so that would be the crown chakra, the more spiritual kind of path here. And so the goal is to stay vulnerable, to make sure that that you are living through full connection of your spirit, which just means whatever enlivens you, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel like you're soaring, you just make sure you do that to the fullest, because that is going to be what carries you through and allows more of this to come through for you. So that is your 7 chakras, reading the full moon energy here at the end of the month, making sure you are not in denial. Again, each of the chakras were read so that you can see exactly where the denial might be coming up for you, what you might be denying, which if you do deny, it means that you're resisting the ability to be vulnerable, and it means you're resisting the potential of staying aligned to this new shift in energy, which will get you into a new place to receive come August. And August is this big manifestation month. So, red path, I encourage you to stay vulnerable for the rest of this month and to really accept whatever in your path makes you feel exposed, because that's exactly where you need to be to allow this next shift to come in. This so much light and love. If what you seek is seeking you, then what are you looking for?
There's a part of you that wants to expand, it wants to grow, and it wants to feel much better than it already does.
This membership program offers courses to change your reactions and tools to expand your perspective.
They're tools. They're just trying to amplify what's already there, make you a better version of self. This is the first time I felt full in my entire life.
Guided meditations and live interactions will bring validation.
Going through these rebirths or this evolution, this form of change, this shift, it is the most exciting part.
Explore your potential, embrace your gifts, and empower your life.